Welcome, everyone. We will get started at 12:30.
Sorry, everyone, we're going to take a selfie real quick. Ricardo, ready? Ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Nice.
If there's no picture, it didn't happen. So.
This is true. I do like, I don't like the webinar feature that we can't see the attendees.
I know,
I
wish I
love
could
grabbing that. So yeah, that's one of my least favorite things about webinar. Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in another 2 minutes or so. Hope everyone had a chance to run and grab some lunch. We will get started in just 1 more minute. Looks like people are just now starting to jump in. All right, I want to welcome everyone to our period 3, our afternoon session on our last day of AeriesCon. Hope everyone has just gained so much information in regards to attending sessions. A reminder that you can access those sessions up until June 30th, the recordings of those, so don't forget to do that. We are here this afternoon session with SIStematic Canvas Grade Passback. The presenters for this session are Ricardo Recenos and Teresa Macayo Castro. Thanks, you guys. They are both from Hacienda La Puente Unified School District, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. My name is Leslie Swartz. I will be your moderator in the chat and try to answer. I don't know a ton about tasking with Canvas, so I'll get both Ricardo and Teresa's attention if there's questions that need answer. So welcome again, both Ricardo and Teresa.
Leslie, thank you for the introduction. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I know we just came back from lunch, so we're all paying attention. Again, thank you for joining us in our session. We are going to be going over SIStematic Canvas Grade Passback, which is just a really long name for syncing Canvas grades with your Aeries gradebook. My name is Teresa Castro.
And I am Ricardo Recinos.
And we are both technology teachers or Tectosas from Hacienda La Puente Unified. And if you want to follow along with us, we've created a great resource for you that Ricardo is going to show you just right now.
Before we start with that, I want to make sure that we're going to just put a poll out there just to get an idea of how proficient you feel when it comes to syncing grades between Canvas and Aeries. And we'll give you about 30 seconds with that.
So while you're doing the poll right now, if you might have noticed that you could see our captions at the bottom while we're presenting it, we usually get questions about that, and that's just simply through PowerPoint and using their captions feature, their closed captioning.
Great. Thank you so much for helping us with that poll. It gives us an idea of how to approach the session today. And as Teresa said, we actually have a resource that I'm going to put on the chat right now. And also you can access it via our QR code right here, and also the bit.ly that I put in the chat. And what this is going to do for you is actually going to take you into a Canvas page that we have created for you with all of the resources that we're going to be using today, along with other stuff. Let me share that screen so you can see that really, really quick. So in here, the link should have taken you to this page right here. And in here, just to give you an idea, you do have access to our presentation for today, which is what we're going to be using today to present. In addition, we have done the PD for Aeries and Canvas Gradebook sync, a general for all grades. So the recording is right here from our district point of view. We've also done it for our K through 2. And we talk a lot about standard-based grading in that particular recording PD, and also we've done it for 3 to 5. In addition to this, we have resources in here that are clickable. You can just come and click over here and you'll be able to get a lot of the answers and a lot of the stuff that we are going to cover today. And finally, we have our contact info. So please feel free to ask any questions. You have our emails in here. You have our social media contact. We are actually part of a group of 5 Tectosas at Hacienda La Puente under our director, Dr. Helene Cunningham, and our assistant superintendent, Dr. Judy Fancher. So all of our info is in here. In addition to that, we also added our HOP USD YouTube channel. And if you click on it, it's going to take you to our channel where we have hundreds and hundreds of videos about Canvas, about Aeries, and anything that you might want to find is in here. Okay, so that's available for you too. Let me go ahead and go back to the presentation if you give me a second. Okay, go ahead, Teresa.
All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next slide. All right, so we just wanted to kind of let you know what our purpose is today with you. Our purpose is to learn how to sync grades from Canvas to Aeries and to explore tips to make Grade Passback work more seamlessly. And also we'll be going through some troubleshooting to make things work better, because we've had this experience this year and lots of issues that have come up and lots of tricks that we've learned along the way that we want to share with you. We also want to be clear about our non-purpose. When you leave us today, you're not going to be Grade Passback pros unless you are already, which means you should probably chime in when we get questions later. And we don't want you to think that this is the only way to do things. This is what we've come up with our district, with the needs of our teachers. But of course, you will tailor it to whatever you need, your teachers and your district as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Teresa. Just to give you, let me go back, sorry. Just to give you a little bit of a background, this is our first years with Canvas LMS, and we are at a district with 17,000 students and about 1,000 teachers, K through 12. So we have worked really, really hard to make sure that our Canvas Aeries sync works for us. So there are some essentials that you must know when it comes to syncing your grades. The first one is how to properly name Canvas groups and Aeries categories. So we'll talk a lot about that. Okay, when we talk about Aeries categories, in Aeries, we're actually referring to Canvas groups and Canvas, okay? And we'll see that in a second. We'll talk about some of the requirements that you have to have when you create an assignment so that you can successfully sync to Aeries. We'll also show you how to sync. And while we present, we'll talk about troubleshooting and different things that we have encountered at our district that have challenges, but also we've been able to find answers and find best practices to be able to be successful with the sync. Along the way, we'll recommend some stuff that is just best practices that helps us, such as enabling grading scheme in Canvas, which is basically called final marks in Aeries, so that there's consistency between your grades. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about weighted grades. We'll talk about assignment names, a little bit about standards, how to update grades, and how to change due date. So we're gonna go over all of this stuff today. So I mentioned this already. This is probably one of the biggest ones that we wanna mention. It's that in Aeries, in our Aeries Gradebook, we call them categories, okay? And I just wanted to show you a sample from one of our teachers. So notice our categories over here: assignments, quiz, exam, audio, speaking, and participation. And then in Canvas, we call them groups. And notice how they match. They're spelled the same way and they have the same names, okay? This particular teacher has also decided to do weighted scoring. So notice how that matches. And the reason why she did this is because she wants to be consistent. She wants to be able to have a student or a parent go to Canvas and that grade in Canvas reflects the same grade in Aeries. Okay, so that's the reason why she did it this way. It is not necessary, but it's actually a recommendation that we have for you, okay? So along with the groups and categories, we're gonna talk about how to create an assignment, what is required for you to be able to sync to your SIS, in this case, Aeries, how you can assign to entire groups of classes and also periods, and talk about a little bit about due dates that are required for you to be able to be successful when you sync your grades. I'm not gonna go over all of this right now because we are gonna do it live, but this is for you for reference, how to open the assignments, how to create it, and the different steps that you have to take to be successful in creating an assignment that is going to sync with Aeries, okay? So you do have this as a resource. And then finally, after we do some grading, we're actually going to go into grades and try to sync our grades between Canvas and Aeries. So you'll see the process of what you need to do. And we'll talk about some best practices when you're syncing between the two platforms. At the end, we'll talk about some troubleshooting that has helped us a lot, as I mentioned, such as how sometimes linking your Aeries gradebooks can cause issues. Cross-listing and what you can do with cross-listing courses in Canvas, how to sync, naming assignments, and also the biggest probably tip that we're going to give you, how to remaster the Grade Passback, which basically refreshes the link between Canvas and Aeries to relink the grades between the two. Okay, so we'll talk about that too. So let's go ahead and get down to business now. We're going to go ahead and go into the platforms and we'll see how this is going to work. Before we do that though, we do want to make sure that we provide a resource for you where you can ask questions from us. And then I think Teresa's going to talk about that really, really quick. while I
All right.
find it.
So we created a Padlet for this session, and Ricardo's going to go ahead and put that link into the chat. And this is just a great resource for us and also for you to be able to go back to. So pretty self-explanatory here, but our first column, feel free to add any things that you liked or learned or would like to try. And in the middle, we have questions. Of course, you could put questions into the chat, but this is a great place to put questions as well, and we'll answer here as well. So if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to add them here, and we'll answer them throughout our presentation and also at the end. And we know we have some people here who are already familiar with Canvas and Aeries together. So you might have some suggestions or resources that you want to share. So please feel free to share them right here. And we have the very first one there, which we gave you the link for earlier, which is the Canvas course that we created to show our presentation and resources right now. So that's there for you. So please feel free to hop on and give us a little hi in there, and we will definitely help you out throughout and after our presentation.
Perfect. Thank you, Teresa. So I am now in Aeries Gradebook, and there's different ways to create a gradebook. You can add a gradebook, you can do mass add gradebooks, or you can copy gradebooks. A lot of our teachers, we've been using Aeries for a long time. They choose to just copy the gradebooks from a previous year. So they'll come in here and they'll go to maybe last year, and they'll find their grades that they want to copy, and they go ahead and take it. You have the option to select final marks. You have the option to select the gradebook options, but we do recommend, if you are going to be syncing with Canvas, you do not want to bring the gradebook categories because you're going to be creating them brand new in Canvas, obviously. And then you do not want to bring the assignments, because all of the assignments are going to be created in Canvas and automatically pushed into Aeries. In the past, when in our district, we used to use Google Classroom, and having the assignments the shell was a requirement to be able to bring in the grades. But with Canvas, Canvas automatically creates those assignments for you. Okay, so that's kind of a big one. Teresa, was there something you wanted to mention on that? No? Okay, so we're gonna create a gradebook. Just gonna go in here. Okay, and I'm speaking from the high school point of view, and I know Teresa's gonna chime in with the elementary, but I'm creating a gradebook that is gonna be fall and spring in this particular case, okay? We've set up our Canvas to have grading terms, so grading periods, so that we can sync between both of them and go to the correct gradebook, okay? And I'm just going to attach or associate a class here. I'm just gonna pick one in here. And for today, let's just call it test, just because I'm going to delete it eventually. Okay, and don't forget to save. And once I created the gradebook, there are 3 things that you must remember to be successful in being able to sync grades. The first one, and we've had a lot of teachers that forget to go to manage students and add their students, and they set up everything right. They set up their categories, they set up their groups, and they tried to sync, but because there were no students in the gradebook, the grades never went from Canvas into Aeries. Okay, so make sure that you add your students. Okay, so the main or most important thing that you have to do is categories. Okay, you have to make sure that your categories in Aeries are going to match what we call groups in Canvas. Okay, so in here, I'm just gonna add a couple of categories. And just to show you, I'm just going to add maybe homework. Okay, and I can give it a color if I wanted to. And let's add one more. And let's just call this test. Okay, I'll just give it a different color. Okay, and then once you've added all your categories, do not forget to save. We've had a lot of teachers that go in here, they add the categories and they move somewhere else and they forget to save and it doesn't save. So make sure that you do save them, okay? So maybe these are the only 2 categories that I'm gonna be using for this particular gradebook, okay? So I have my categories, okay? So what I will recommend is once you do that, you wanna go to Aeries, we wanna go to Canvas, I'm sorry. This is the course that you have access to right now. And what you want to do is you want to replicate those categories inside of Canvas, okay? And the way you do that is, this is called the course, I guess the grade tabs that gives you all of the options, I guess, the management tab over here. And what you want to do is you want to look for assignments, okay? So on your course management links over here, you want to go to assignments, go ahead and click on it. And in here is where you have the ability to create those groups that basically are those assignments in Aeries, okay? So if you are using Canvas and you are familiar with Canvas, a lot of our teachers tend to import assignments from a different course in Canvas, or they tend to bring stuff from Commons into their Canvas class. And you'll see that automatically Canvas creates something called imported assignments, okay? That's something that we're not going to be syncing, but it does create that, and it brings all of these assignments that you bring from another course or you bring from Commons into here. But we're going to create groups, okay? And if you remember, I want to create homework and tests. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to create my group, and I'm going to call it homework, okay? And I'm going to save it. So now I have one group right here, and I want to create my next group. And I think I called it test, I believe. Okay, and it's right in here. So we're gonna see that they are actually gonna match. Actually, notice that I put an S on the other one. So if I made that mistake, my grades, when they are looking, they wouldn't actually sync because the S is right there. So you do have to make sure, again, that your categories and your groups in Canvas are actually matching and they have the same name, okay? So that's one of the first steps that you must do. We like to be consistent again at our district. We want our Canvas grades to match our Aeries grades in there. So what we want to see is that some of our teachers do weighted scoring. Okay, so if you decide to do that over here, right, and you give percentages, and I'm just going to do 50%. You don't have to do this. That's completely up to you. But our teachers that do this want to make sure that they have weighted scoring. I'm going to say that. So if I'm doing this, okay, a best practice for us will be to go to Canvas, and where we created our groups, we can go all the way to the right where the snowman or the 3 dots are. We can click and we can do the same thing. We can add group weights, okay? So now I'm gonna click there and I'm gonna go in here and I have the ability. Remember that imported assignments, we're not gonna worry about that one, but I wanna go 50 and I wanna go 50, okay? So now both my Canvas groups are the same as my Aeries categories, okay? I just want to show you a sample of a teacher that is actually using this. These are all of her categories in her gradebook and her percentages. And if we go to Canvas, I want you to see that she basically has the exact same thing and everything matches, okay? So in here, she's been able to add the weight scoring and so on and so on. You don't have to add the weight scoring. So you could have the weight scoring on Aeries Gradebook, but not in Canvas. But again, just be conscious that if you do that, your grades might not match in one platform to the other, right? Because they're going to be different. So make sure that that's completely up to you, okay? But now that we've done that, just to show you, she has all of her assignments right under each of the categories in here, just to give you an idea. So that was the first thing. Make sure that your categories and your groups and Canvas match, okay? The next one, and this is not an essential, but again, trying to keep that consistency, we want to make sure that the final marks in Aeries, and these are the ones that are by default in Aeries right now, are going to match with the grading scheme in Canvas, okay? Because you don't want to have a 99% be an A+ in here, but not be an A+ in Canvas, okay? So you want to make sure that your final marks over here are going to match your grading scheme in Canvas, okay? How do we do that? Again, this is not required, but it's something that we recommend. How do you enable grading schemes in Canvas? When you go to your course navigation over here, you can go to the bottom, and under the last option, which is settings, you will click on it. Okay, it's going to open all these options over here, but we want to stay under course details, okay? We want to stay there. And if we scroll down, as you scroll down, you have the option to enable course grading scheme. This is not set up, it's not on by default, so you do want to make sure that you turn this on, okay? So I'm going to click on it, and now notice that I get the option to set a grading scheme. So now if I click on it, Canvas also provides you one by default, but you're going to notice that it's not going to match our Aeries one, okay? So you want to make sure that you are matching it. So on Aeries, we have an A+, 98 to 100, okay? So if I wanted to do that, I'm going to use this one, or I can select another scheme if I wanted to. I know Teresa's going to talk about elementary in a second, but I can come in here and notice that I want to edit this one because I want to make it match my final marks in Aeries. So I'm in here now, and now I want to add an A+, right? So I'm going to add it on top, okay? And I want an A+ right here. Okay, and I think our A+ for this particular final mark was 98 to 100. So you always in Canvas, you work with the last column. So I'm gonna make this 98 now. And when I do that, that's going to switch us. So now our A became 98 to 93, which is almost 97.99 to 93. So you can kind of make sure that you are matching both of them, okay? That's something that we do recommend. It's not essential, but we do recommend, again, for consistency, okay? In Canvas, you can delete columns if you want to by just clicking on the X over here, if you wanted to do that, so that at the end you end up with the same consistency between the two. And I'm gonna have Teresa come in here for a second, and she's gonna talk about the elementary side.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see that right here. All right, so Ricardo just went over the grading schemes in Canvas. We just wanted to show you a quick view of an elementary one. So this one is for our elementary, the lower grades do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the upper grades do A, B, C, D, F. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, this is just an example of our second grade one. So they made sure that their scheme was adjusted so that it really reflects what it is in Aeries. Okay. And also from there in Aeries, here's what it looks like in the final marks. They have it up here, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they do match. Okay. And just to show you where that came from, this is what we provided for our teachers. So here's the gradings for our K2, for 3, 5. So they understand that that's our district default as well. Okay. So that's how it looks like from our end, just so you could see that view.
Thank you, Teresa.
But I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you real fast. I made a new Padlet just because I apologize. So I put a new link Padlet because the one that was up there initially wasn't working.
Okay, so we do have the actual link. Okay,
we have
that's
both.
Great. Just share
It's
that
great.
with me.
They both work. Okay, sorry.
Sorry about that. For whatever reason, it was actually set to private. We apologize for that. Okay, so now that we have our Aeries categories and our Canvas groups and they match, we are going to continue. So the next thing is we're going to go to Canvas, and now we are going to create an assignment, okay? Teachers have different ways of creating assignments. Some teachers like to work out of modules, and they go in there, and I'll just show you really quick. And they create the assignment right from here. So here's a module for this week, and I can come in here and go to plus. And I can just
see your screen.
You're not seeing my screen?
No,
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
So sorry about that. So a lot of our teachers have different preferences of how they create assignments. Okay. Some of them go straight through modules and they create their assignments. So I'm going to go to modules just to show you. And they come in here and they go to the module for the week that they're working on. And they go to the plus. And they create assignments right from here. They just go to new assignment and they give it a name and they add the assignment, and you can do it this way. Okay, that's the way that a lot of our teachers do it. For today, I'm going to do it from the assignment tab just because I want to show you a couple of things. Okay, this is completely up to you how you do it. Okay, and remember when we talk about assignments or items that are going to sync between Canvas and Aeries, we are talking about items that are gradable in Canvas. By that, I'm referring to assignments, I'm referring to discussions, and I'm referring to quizzes, okay? So if you're talking about maybe a page, and we've seen people that use pages for assignments, something like that wouldn't sync between Aeries and Canvas, okay? So again, something that is gradable, okay? Something you can grade. So again, discussions, assignments, and quizzes, okay? So I am now on the assignment tab. I'm going to create my assignment from here, okay? So I'm going to go to create an assignment. It doesn't matter how you do it, it's just preference. Okay, and I'm going to give it a name. So for this one, I'm just gonna call it AeriesCon, okay? I can come to the rich content editor and give resources and give instructions and so on, right? Use Studio if I want to, add anything from Google Drive or Office and so on. But we're not gonna worry about that today. We wanna make sure to give points. So this is gonna be worth 10 points. And remember that we created groups in Canvas, right? Which are categories in Aeries, right? So over here, we want to make sure that it matches. So if this was participation, I would just click that. If this was an assignment, I will click that. Just make sure that you assign it to the right group or category in Aeries, basically, okay? You also have the ability of different submission types. We're not gonna spend time talking about the different submissions. For this one, I'm just gonna do it a text entry and a media recording. I like to give options to our students. So that there's not just one way to show mastery. Maybe a kid is really good at writing an essay, but another one can explain it with a PowerPoint, or maybe someone else can do it through webcam. So I like to give options to our students, but it doesn't really matter in here. And you can have the submissions to unlimited if you want to, or if you want to limit, you can check that too. And this is the key, okay? So depends on your district, but the sync to SIS is not set by default, okay? So for you, you might have it clicked off, okay? So if you want to be able to sync to Aeries, you want to make sure that this is set to on, okay? Now, our Canvas admin team has set this up so that anytime a teacher comes and creates an assignment, it automatically is clicked to sync to SIS. So your Canvas admin team can do that for you if that's what you want, okay? But it might be off for you, but just make sure that that's on. So that's our requirement. The other requirement that Canvas has for the grade sync to be successful is that when you assign, you want to assign to everyone. Or if you maybe are teaching distance learning, right? And you see Spanish 1 period 1 on Monday, but you see Spanish 1 period 3 on Wednesday, okay? Then you could come in here and remove the everyone and assign my Spanish 1 period 4 a due date that is maybe due tomorrow, okay? And you have the available, and from at our district, we have set up grading terms. So we want to make sure that we do have the date that falls within our spring or our fall. So I'm just going to make this one the until, because I want to let my kids be able to submit this late if I want to. I'm just going to make this available until maybe May 20th, which is the end of our spring semester for us, okay? I can do that there. I can give it an available too, but you don't have to have this if you don't want to, but you do need a due date, okay? So I have assigned it to period 4, and now I can come over here and I can add my other period. So now let's add my period 2, and I can do the same, and maybe this period meets on a different date, so I give it a due date that is maybe different for them, okay? So I'm going to go there, and I can do the until again. Let's go ahead and do that. Till the end of the semester for us. Okay, and now I can continue to add those by sections, but again, you have to assign to everyone or by section or the syncing will not work, okay? So that's something to remember, okay? And now I'm able to save and publish this, so I can just save it. So let's go ahead and save and publish. So now I have an assignment that is being created, that is being pushed to my students, and now my students are going to go ahead and complete the assignment. As a teacher, once my students have completed the assignment, I have the ability to go to Speedgrader in here. I'm just going to click so you can see it. Okay, I look at what my students have done, what they've turned in, depending on what type of assignment it is, and I can come in here and grade it. So I can just, maybe this particular student is going to get a 10. I can add comments, I can give feedback through video, and so on and so on. We're not going to spend much time on Speedgrader, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that this is where you grade the assignments, okay? So this is where you're going to be grading the assignments. Once you graded all of your students, okay, and you've actually saved everything, you grade it, and you're ready to now push the grades, okay? How do we do that, okay? So now we graded, we want to go into our Canvas course again, and you want to go to grades. And let's give it a second. And it's going to bring it in. And notice that it brings my gradebook with all of the grades that I have for this particular class. And I want to show you something really, really quick before we show you how to sync. Our district has actually worked really hard to be able to let our teachers be able to filter by semesters. So we have our fall and our spring in here when they are seeing this. I know it's very challenging when you see so many assignments for the entire year. So by doing this, we actually have the ability to filter by fall or spring, or for the elementary, we actually have done it for trimester 1, trimester 2, and trimester 3. So it makes it easier for our teachers to be able to see that, okay? If you have cross-listed in Canvas, you also have the ability to see by sections in here, and I can see that, or I can see them all and just grade everything in here if I want to, okay? But I'm ready to push grades now. So once I'm ready to push grades, we go to actions right here, okay? And in here, you have the option to sync to Grade Pass service, okay? So you want to click on it. So we've done everything. We created our categories, we matched it to our groups, we created an assignment, we set sync to SIS, we assigned it to everybody, and we're ready, we've graded, so now we are ready to push this, okay? By default, Canvas looks at the entire year and shows all the assignments, okay? We're gonna show you some tricks on how you can get rid of this, okay? So if I'm a teacher and maybe I only wanna push 2 assignments, I mean, Canvas is gonna look at it and Aeries and say, I already pushed this, but it's still gonna go through each assignment, so it might take a little bit longer. So what we tell our teachers, a best practice, you can just unclick all of them, and then go ahead and find the ones that you wanna push. And for me, I have 2 assignments that I wanna push. So I wanna push this one right here. And you can see that it tells me when's the last time that I pushed it. Okay, I haven't pushed this one yet. I don't have a date. And I also want to push this one. Okay, so I'm going to select just those 2. Okay. Once you have pushed assignments into Aeries, the only way to repush something that you already pushed is by changing at least 1 grade of a student. Does that make sense? So Canvas is not going to look at it and try to repush an assignment unless you change 1 grade of a student for an assignment that has been pushed before, okay? So I'm ready to push. I'm just going to go to the bottom and I'm going to post grades now. So this is the fun part. So it says schedule. Teachers come in here and they click on see progress. And Canvas goes through 9 steps. The first time you do it, it might take a little long for it to go, but notice that it's 1 out of 9 right now. And it's kind of looking for it and it's going to send it. And once it finds the connection with Aeries, it goes really, really fast. But the first time that it establishes that connection, it takes a little while. Notice that the last time that I did this, I pushed 86 grades. Okay, now I only did 2. Okay, so that's going to give you an idea. If I refresh, notice that I'm at 2 out of 9 now. Okay, and it's moving, it's going to start moving really, really fast. Okay, and we'll give it a second. And then we'll come back so you can see it. And we'll actually show you those 2 grades that we push, okay? But once Canvas has pushed the grades into Aeries, we're gonna go to Aeries for a second. Okay, we're gonna go to our gradebook. Okay, so this particular teacher is pushing everything from Canvas into Aeries, okay? So we're gonna go to her class. And you're going to see that in here, and eventually we'll see those 2 assignments that we just pushed. Every assignment that she has created in Canvas has been pushed to Aeries. The way we know that, if I go to an assignment over here and I just click on any particular one, let me just click on this one today. We're still waiting for 22 and 21, okay? How do I know it came from Canvas? Notice that it says imported from Canvas right here, and it shows me the link right here. It knows where it came from. As a teacher, if I want to really quick go to that assignment, I can just click on it. It's going to open my Canvas page and I'm in that assignment automatically, okay? Without having to go and toggle and try to find it and so on and so on. I can automatically get to that assignment just by going to Aeries and going to that particular assignment. So kind of a great tool to have right there, okay? So this is what it looks like. Let me go back to the dashboard. Let me go back to that particular gradebook again. And let's go back, as we wait for that, let's go back to our grades and let's see where we are. Let's refresh. Okay, we're on 5 out of 9 right now. It's gonna get it through pretty soon, okay? But again, you'll be able to see that. Another view that I think we love to see in Aeries is when we go to the grades. And Teresa, help me so I can figure out that view where you actually can see everything that has been pushed over here, like what the PDF was or the worksheet and so on and so on. Do you remember how to see that view?
Are you
Teresa?
talking about going into the assignments and actually viewing it from there, in the manage,
Yeah, exactly.
manage gradebook and then manage?
Okay, so go to manage gradebook. We'll show you that right now. So manage gradebook.
And the assignments tab.
And then we're gonna go to the assignment tab really quick in here. And we want you to see that it brought them all in here. But if I go to more info, just so you see, it will show you everything. I think it's under edit, right, Teresa? Yeah, it will show you everything again. It will show you the description of the assignment, where it came from, and so on and so on. So you actually can see it from here, and the link is there too, okay? Let's go back and see where we are on our syncing now. It's done. So if you would have gotten any errors, you would have seen a red box, and we're going to show you that in a second so you can see it. But it says completed. There's no errors. So if I go back to my gradebook now, okay, and let's go back over here. And let's go to class. And I think it was called number 22 and number 21, I believe, right? And I will have to look for them in here. Sorry, here it goes. Here's number 22 and here's number 21. Do you see that? So both assignments just came in right now and they have been pushed with all of the grades right in here. And I think that's the way it did it for us. Okay, so that's the way you will do it. So that was our 22 and our 21 that we just pushed right now, okay? Now, a lot of times our teachers run into some issues when it comes to syncing grades. I just wanna show you what that looks like for some of our teachers. So let's say that one of our teachers went and did their Grade Passback into Aeries. Let me show you actually, it's this one right here. We have this right, so you might not have this right, but we'll show you when you can do it from a teacher point of view, okay? But as a tech toaster, I can come in here and I can see, oh, this teacher is posting their grades right now. This one was successful, this one was successful. And I'm looking at this particular teacher and I see an error now, okay? So I can come in here and kind of see it and be like, okay, what happened? Gradebook numbers do not match. So that gives me an idea of what might be a wrong, what might be wrong with this syncing, okay? Just to give you another couple of examples here. Imported assignments, it's not found. And this happens a lot to our teachers. You don't have to worry about imported assignments. I'll show you how you can fix that in a second. But we can come in here and see what happens to our teachers, okay? So let's say that I would have gotten an error, okay, in my particular class. Let me go back to that class. Let me go back to that class really quick. And I know I'm running out of time because we want to make sure that we answer questions. So I'm going back to that class. And maybe I had that error about imported assignments, okay? So let's go to assignments. So what I want to do over here is I want to make sure that when I'm in here, okay, here's my imported assignments that I brought in from maybe a different course, so maybe from comments. So maybe there was an assignment right here, okay? So Canvas and Aeries are looking for this category and this group. And then remember in Aeries, we didn't put imported assignments, okay? So you just want to make sure that you consistently move assignments that you've imported into your gradebook to the correct group in Canvas, okay? That's something that you can do. Let's say that you are not ready to sync those grades yet. If you have more than one imported assignment, the other best practice that you can do is that in here, you can say, well, this a particular assignment that's not ready yet. I haven't even put it in the correct group. So maybe I want to disable the sync. And by clicking on it, now notice that I turned it off and now it's not syncing anymore, okay? When I'm ready to sync it, I'm going to move it to the correct group, okay? And I'm going to turn that on. So now that particular assignment is going to be ready to sync, okay? Remember that we talked about how when we did the Grade Passback, we had over 85 assignments that we're trying to sync, right? As a teacher, okay, in our district, we have the ability again to go all grading periods, fall or spring. I'm on all grading periods right now. I can come and say, you know what, my assignments from last semester, I don't want them to show up anymore. So I'm going to unclick them. They're not going to be syncing. They're in my fall gradebook and Aeries. I don't need them anymore. And by doing this now, when I go to my grades and I sync, I'm only going to have the assignments for this spring semester now. Does that make sense? So I have turned this off for all of the ones from fall, and now these ones do not appear anymore when I try to sync from the grades sync passback option, okay? So kind of a great tool to have to be able to make it easier on you. Just kind of turn that off, the ones that you are not syncing anymore, okay? Just so you know. If all things fail and you are still having issues with the sync, what we recommend is to refresh your connection between Aeries and Canvas. And we're going to show you this, how to do this, okay? So by default on your course navigation, you might not have Grade Sync open or visible. If you do not, all you need to do is go to settings. And when you're in settings, you want to make sure that you go to navigation. So by default, it goes to course details. Okay, but you want to go to navigation and you want to make sure the Grade Sync, it might be over here and you're not seeing it, just bring it to the top. So now it's visible to you, okay? And once I do that, I want to save. If you do not save, it's not going to remember, so make sure you save. And once I've done that, now that Grade Sync button, it's on my course navigation right here. I can click on it. It will give me a history of all of the different times I sync my grades between Canvas and Aeries, I have no errors, but maybe I'm getting that error over and over and over for whatever reason. So something that, and I'll give you a couple of examples. Someone cross-listed their Canvas courses after they had created assignments. That will create problems. That would be an example of an issue, okay? Someone in Canvas, when they created their gradebooks, in Aeries, I'm sorry, when they created their gradebooks, they decided to link their gradebooks, okay? In the past, this was a best practice because I wanted to create the shell of the assignment just in one period, and it will auto-populate in second and third if I was teaching the same class, right? But now Canvas is bringing the grades directly from Canvas into Aeries, so the assignments automatically get created. So we have seen the issue where our teachers have linked the gradebooks, specifically in high school, and what happens is that for the first period, the assignments come in with the scores, but for that second period that is linked, the assignments come in and the scores do not come in. And the reason for that is because the grade books are linked, okay? So we wanna make sure that we are aware of that, okay? So try not to link them, okay? That's because, again, the assignments are coming in directly from Canvas. So those are a couple of issues that we've seen, but maybe my syncing is not working. So I need to do something about it, okay? So in here, I have the ability to go to settings, okay? And when I go to settings, I have the ability to remaster Grade Passback. And when you click on this, it's going to ask you, do you really want to do this? Okay. It will post grades to all sections on all assignments and that are synced to SIS. It basically refreshes your ability to sync, and it basically relinks everything. And this is the one that usually solves most of the problems when it comes to errors that you have between the syncing in Canvas and Aeries. Okay. Another common error that we might have, and we've seen it, is that a lot of times our teachers, when they name assignments, they name them a very, very long name. And sometimes when you have a very, very long name, Canvas has trouble trying to send those assignments into Aeries. So try to keep, just to give you an example, this is the way this particular teacher has named them. And this is what it looks like. And then this have been working okay when we see the syncing between the two, okay? Let's see, anything else that I missed, Teresa, when it comes to the syncing? I'm trying to remember. Oh, there's one more thing. I just remember one more thing. So again, we're all about consistency, okay, with our grades in Canvas and Aeries. So we do know that some of our teachers like to, and I know Teresa covered this on a previous session, but some of our teachers, when they create their Aeries gradebooks, they like to have, and I'm waiting for it, under options, they want to make sure that they have the scale minimum because they think that, you know, an F from 0 to 50 it's an F, right? So they want to make sure that the kid that got a 0 in one assignment receives a 50 in that particular assignment, okay? So they don't fall behind, okay? So if you are doing this in Aeries, you do have to make sure that when you are in the gradebook for Canvas, you also have enabled that. Again, to keep the consistency between the grades, okay? And how do we do that? I am in the gradebook and Canvas. I can go to the cogwheel over here. I can click on it. And in here, I can also set that 50 right here, okay? If I wanted to do that, and now our grades are going to basically stay consistent between the two, okay? Teresa,
so the sync will still work, right? That's just a preference to make sure everything is, okay, good. All right, so Ricardo, we've been getting quite a few questions on the side. I've been trying to answer, but I think it would be also best, since we do have some extra time, even though I've already answered, to go on and actually demonstrate some of these things, if you don't mind. But let me go to the last one because I didn't answer it yet. So I'll start backwards if that's fine with you.
Sure.
So the last one, after the initial sync, should grade sync automatically, or does a teacher always have to manually click the sync to SIS button in order for grades to sync with Aeries?
That's a great question. Our district has the connection between Aeries and Canvas to basically update at 6 p.m. every day. However, the grades do not sync automatically. So a teacher does have to go back when they graded something to the grades tab like we did before. And I'll just go to it again. And maybe they've graded something. So we'll go there. Let me go to the actual class, sorry. And then they have to go to actions and sync to Grade Passback. So it's not going to sync automatically. You do have to do it every time you want to push grades from one platform to the other. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going backwards here. So another one is when we sync assignments from Canvas to Aeries, do we still have to click the grading complete button. Can you show them in Aeries, can you show them one of the assignments and go into edit and show them how that button is already clicked for them automatically? So
And you want me to go in here and you want me to
and
go
yeah,
to
go to edit any of
Sure.
the ones that have synced over. So, oops, that wasn't a synced one. Go to
Oh, that
one
wasn't
that
sync one.
was,
Sorry.
yeah, that
Yeah, she
wasn't a
didn't
synced
sync
one.
that one. Sorry. Let me go
There's
back.
some teachers who still manually put in assignments that are not synced with Canvas.
And again, how do you know? You will see that in the description, you will see that it came from Canvas, okay? But it's right here, right?
So on my end, it views that the grading completed check mark is already complete. So for me, it does it automatically, but for
And
this one,
this might have to do with the teacher unclicking that. Remember, as we talked before, maybe I want to make sure that I am the one that is saying this is completed. So the teacher might have it on Aeries Gradebook unclick, so it's not doing it. Yeah.
and I have seen teachers who have it set where it just clicks automatically. So I was just looking at that right now. Thank you. Okay, moving up. Okay, someone said, I have found the error message to be pretty useless. Not sure if that's an Aeries issue or a Canvas issue. So I think the Aeries when the error when we were doing the grade passback. So can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, sometimes some of the errors that you get, you kind of scratch your head trying to figure out what's going on, right? Again, it all goes back to a couple of things. Make sure that your categories and your groups match. Make sure the assignment doesn't have a long name. Make sure that you click the sync to SIS that is assigned to everybody or to a period. And those are the main things. And if anything else fails, again, it could be for many reasons. Like I said, your grades might be linked in Aeries, or you might have cross-listed after you created assignments in Canvas. So going to that remaster or the passback grade usually fixes those problems.
And someone did mention that hopefully that will be addressed soon, the whole linking of gradebooks, that hopefully it would work with that. So we're crossing our fingers. But definitely when we first saw those errors, it did not make any sense to us until we finally found some solutions and we're like, oh, okay, that, that actually makes sense. All right, so here's another one. When you make a change to an assignment, when you push it over, does it push over just the change or does it push over the whole thing again? I had said that it just pushes over the change because we've seen how it only affects that one score, but you can clarify if you.
Correct. So you need to make at least one change for one student for that grade to be synced again, and it just changes that particular student. Yeah. Yeah, we actually had a teacher that had gone into Aeries Gradebook and actually had changed some grades for some of the students manually. And we were scared that when we were syncing from Canvas into Aeries was going to revert those grades back, and it did not. So it only changes that particular student.
Just the change. Yeah, perfect.
Can I ask, because like I said, I'm just not very familiar with this. If you, for whatever reason, hit that button sync again, it's not going to create duplicates, correct?
It does not. However, we have discovered that, you do have those that teacher, and I made that mistake too, that there's a student that was absent and I want to give him extra time to complete that assignment, right? So they come to assignments. That's a great question. They come to assignments and they go to that particular assignment that they want to give more time for that particular student to complete. And they go in here, and I'm just going to go into it. And let me go ahead and edit. I apologize, my computer is going very, very slow. Here it goes. Okay, and I'm gonna go and edit that assignment. So they come in here and they go to the bottom, and under the due date, they come in here and they change it to a different due date. So they go in here and they go, okay, now I'm gonna extend it to the 28th. Okay, so when Canvas sends this to Aeries, Aeries looks at it and says, different due date. Must be a different assignment, and it could duplicate it. So because of that, when you are assigning to just that one particular student, because maybe you are modifying, or maybe that student has getting some extra time, we recommend to come to the bottom, do not touch anything up here, go to add, and just find that particular student that you want to assign it to and give it a different due date. Does that make sense?
So any change to the name, even if you put a little dot on the name, Aeries is going to think it's a different assignment. So it will duplicate it. So name change, due date change, it's going to recognize it as new. So it will duplicate. We've seen that happen. It's a good question. Here's another one, Ricardo, actually a newer question. And so it's about, as you mentioned, gradebooks cannot be linked in Aeries Gradebook because it causes syncing issues. Does cross-listing courses in Canvas goof up the sync? Go ahead. I know the answer, but I know you do. So go ahead.
Go ahead and answer it, and I'll show it. Go ahead.
Okay, so while he finds that for you, cross-listing courses in Canvas does not have any issue at all. You can cross-list what you need, especially that helps teachers a lot who teach the same thing across periods, and those sync just fine. What we just make sure is if you have it cross-linked in or cross-listed, cross-linked, is it cross-listed?
Cross-listed.
Cross-listed in Canvas, don't link them in Aeries. For now, I know Patrick mentioned there might be a fix, but for now, yeah, if it's cross-listed, don't link them. And it does push over fine. So go ahead, Ricardo.
And this is a perfect example where this teacher has cross-listed period 2 and period 4. And as you saw, when I pushed those grades, they actually went, that 21 and 22 assignment that we saw before actually went to both of her periods in here. So they push, even though they were cross-listed, they pushed to her period 2 and also her period 4. Yes.
Mm-hmm. There's just separate grade books for those. So instead of them being one, they're separate. And it's not much extra work for the teacher because they're pushing from Canvas. So they join everything in Canvas and then just push it out to Aeries. Here's another one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to backtrack on that 1 second. You're recommending that they cross-list in Canvas, but leave them individual grade books in Aeries, don't link them.
For now, we've seen teachers try to, because it makes sense to cross-list and then link. We've seen teachers do that and it just doesn't work right now. It might work soon with whatever update is coming, but as of right now, it doesn't
and again, what we've seen is that it will push the assignments and the grades for the first period, but then for the next period, it'll push the assignment names in the shell, but it will not push the grades.
Scores.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So that might be fixed. That might be coming, but for now, that was one of our big
great information.
Okay. Have you had any issues with terms ending on Friday in Aeries and starting on Monday? Students become inactive over the weekend. Are we talking about in Canvas or are we talking about in Aeries? I know for us, when it comes to dates, we just have to be very consistent with dates because even by the minute, it might throw off an assignment to the wrong time or it just, we've had some issues like that. So even by the minute, it's very important in Canvas, but I don't know. Ricardo, I think in our grading terms, we do have our terms that end on a Friday and start on a Monday. Mm-hmm. And at first in Canvas, we tried to extend it so it covered the weekend, but we decided, we need to keep it exactly like Aeries. So even though there were those days, so becoming inactive over the weekend. I haven't encountered that, but I have encountered where someone assigned their due date was in that gray area where we don't actually, they're like in limbo between grading terms. And I think that was an issue. So we just told them to adjust their due date a little bit earlier. So it was inside the right term. Our district has been having trouble with the term changes. We have been working with the Canvas support team to try to figure out why. No answers yet.
So we actually had to create this on our own
manually.
Manually, and I'll give you a perfect example. So for this particular class, which is a high school class, our teachers have the ability to toggle between fall. And we basically looked at the dates in Aeries Gradebook and we matched them to the ones in Canvas. And they also can toggle to spring. So we created this, and the same thing happens to our elementary. We actually have created it by trimesters. And please reach out to us, our contact information.
We had to do it manually. It did not work for the whole first grading period until we figured it out. We're like, oh, that would have been nice.
Just to give you an idea, we can definitely talk about that separate, but just to give you an idea under settings, how we set it up, it's that when we come in here and I go to course details, we've actually under the, I'm going to it right now. Give me 1 second. Did I pass it, Teresa, on this one? Right here. So under terms, we actually went and manually created terms so that our kids that are elementary were in trimesters and our kids that were in high school and middle school were in fall and spring. So this is the way we did it. And this was manually created at our district level, and we did it on our own, basically.
And we're hoping for next year we won't need to do that, but it was kind of a band-aid because of how we set it up initially. So in response to the becoming inactive, they said it was inactive in Canvas. So for us, our Canvas and Aeries enrollment are synced. So when a student is, well, now I'm smiling because for the most part, it's synced, but sometimes when students drop in Aeries, we still see them in Canvas. I think that's also a setting thing. Yeah, Ricardo, they were asking about that for them being inactive over the weekend.
That's a good
I have not
question.
encountered that.
It'll be the setting. I know we've had the question where a student has dropped from Canvas and the teacher wants to be able to see those grades because they're no longer there. Just so you know, under the Gradebook, you can go to Gradebook right here, and you actually have the ability. I think it's under View actually, and you actually have the ability over here to show the kids that are no longer in your Gradebook. I'm so sorry, it's right here. I think as under Students, I can click on it and I can actually show the inactive enrollments and also the concluded enrollments. So this, if you click this, any student that has been dropped from this particular Canvas course will show with the grades that you had up to that date. So you do it under the student name, the 3 dots, and you can show the inactive enrollments right here.
Okay, we have someone here that said that they set up grading terms and they do it for the district at the beginning of the year. Yes, please. If we had known, oh my goodness, yeah, we would have done it from the beginning, but we were just trying to figure it out. But definitely, yes, that would be great to do it in the beginning, not in the middle. Bottom line, make stuff match exactly. Not necessary, but recommended. The sync will still work. But if you do want things to match, then that's great. But we do have teachers who are like, no, you know what? I do want to make assignments in Canvas that I don't want to push to Aeries. I don't want to affect the report card. I'm not going to push them through. They just make sure to be clear with parents that the more accurate grades are here, either in Canvas or Aeries. So they tell the parents they might be a little different. This one is more accurate. I don't know. So and Ricardo also
to add to that consistency, we do have teachers that will create assignments in Canvas that they don't necessarily need them to go into Aeries, but they do want to keep the consistency. So what they do, and just to show you that, is that they come in here, and under the assignment, they actually go and they say, do not, scroll down a little bit, do not count this assignment towards the final grade. So because I know that this assignment is not going to be syncing with Aeries, okay, and I want to keep that consistency, and those grades being consistent, I also do not want to include that in my Canvas grades. So now this has been taken out of the Canvas gradebook and it's not being synced to Aeries, so that grades are still matching.
Yes, and so someone made the point that admin Canvas is important to get this set up right. Yes, we're not on the admin team. Yes, definitely your admin team, if they could set this up properly for you, that would be so great. But we know so much more now for year 2. It would be great to organize a group of K-12 schools that are Aeries Canvas. Oh yes, definitely. We would love to share, but we would also love to learn to some suggestions. Some of the things that we discovered by searching other districts who have it and what they've done with it. So that would be great, Patrick. You put that together. Did I miss anything else? Oh, it said there's a setting in Canvas that can make it where teachers and students can't see or input in the Canvas gradebook. So I think there's a setting for that too, right? The gradebook setting that yes, the admin can set. Mm-hmm.
Correct. You mean like so they don't see the assignments because they haven't been graded yet or they're not finished? Is that what
it says? There are settings in Canvas that can make it where teachers and students can't see or input in the Canvas gradebook.
Okay.
So both, yeah, I think where you can hide assignments or even not allow them to go into it in any way. Those are all admin settings. Anything else? Oh, please, Leslie has gone ahead and put on the feedback survey. So please take a moment to leave your feedback for us and for Aeries. That would be so great. And Patrick has left his email. Oh my goodness, we're definitely going to take this. Leslie, don't log us off yet. Hold on.
Trust me, I think it's a great idea. I know that my former district started with Canvas this year and struggled. And I think that any kind of group that can help each other out is a great idea.
We're so happy to finally get it working, so for us and for our teachers who are like,
That's something that we are so proud of, that when you go and see all of our teachers grade, a lot of the errors are no longer there. A lot of them are completed, and we have that going on. I just wanted to mention again the page that we created, but in addition, we do have a whole Canvas and a whole Aeries playlist on our YouTube with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos that you are welcome to look at.
Nice. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
I am going to put the survey in, please. We'd love your feedback on that. I'm going to put both Ricardo and Teresa on the spot. And tell you that I would love to have you back at our next conference. So, you guys, both your sessions were great. Don't forget that the recordings of this session are available until June 30th. So if you attended this session, but want to just refresh your memory on it and, you go back to work, or, it's a week or two from now and you can't remember what they actually said, absolutely go back and view those sessions. Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. We
Thank
appreciate
you,
so
you.
much.
everyone. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
You
Thank you,
too.
Leslie.
Thanks,
All right,
Leslie.
thanks so much, you guys.